Monty's just taking over. They just put their foot down in this drive. Still going. Wow. Oh my, stretching their legs. That's it. They just put their muscle up front and did it. Way to finish it off, Monty.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
The Lions had to lean on their bread and butter to earn a gritty victory over Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams on Sunday Night Football. It wasn't pretty, but Detroit starts their season off with a victory. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. Today, we're going to tweak a series here on the channel. I'm going to open up my report card series and start handing out grades for the Lions' Week 1 victory against the LA Rams. Let's go. Before we get into the 1-0 Lions, make sure to like the video if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. If you hit the subscription button and the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos here on the channel. We do have a membership option now available. We'll be doing live play-by-play game reactions and highlight reactions all throughout the regular season here. And of course, we have all the fun free content that you've come to love throughout the channel. Make sure to comment down below, what did you think of the Lions' victory on Sunday Night Football against the Rams? Was it everything you expected? Do they have some room for improvement? We're going to get into all of that today. Let's dive into today's topics. The NFL Week 1 slate of games is wrapping up, and it was a very exciting start to the NFL season. No exception for the Sunday night matchup between the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams. The Lions are able to eke out a victory in overtime, sort of putting their stamp on the game, winning the coin toss, driving right down the field, and scoring a touchdown to earn a victory 26-20 over the LA Rams. It was the first time Matthew Stafford had returned to Ford Field in the regular season, and unfortunately has now lost 2 games in a row at Ford Field, coming off that wild card loss last season. The Lions improved to 1-0, and the Rams will fall to 0-1 to start the season. My report card series will go over the offense, defense, special teams, and coaching grades for the particular week in question. We'll also look ahead to that Week 2 matchup with the Bucs. My report card will begin by breaking down the offense and the individual position groups. Let's start with the quarterback, Jared Goff. I think he was a little bit shaky here in Week 1. I think he was okay. I just thought that he had some trouble reading through his second and third progressions there. Anytime you get Jared Goff off his schedule, things can get a little bit hairy. And I think maybe he was quick to pull away from his second progression and get to, maybe that next open receiver. That's going to come when you don't play in the preseason and you just don't have the continuity with the entire offensive group. And again, I think he could be better. He had the interception. I thought he should have maybe been picked off again. There was a dropped interception in the second half. So again, a little bit shaky there. I gave Jared Goff a grade of C for this first week performance against the Rams. Moving over to the running backs, I thought this group was really good in the Week 1 matchup against the Rams. Obviously, David Montgomery starting the game hot and then, of course, finishing with that amazing drive. I think he had 45 yards alone rushing on that last drive in overtime to really win the game for the Lions. Him combined with Jahmyr Gibbs getting a little bit more involved in the passing game, and I expect to see more and more of that. But I just, again, think kind of reestablishes the Lions' true bread and butter. That running game really took over there in the overtime period, obviously, to win it for the Lions. So I thought overall their backs were very good. You actually even saw Sione Vaki get some time in that third running back role. He sort of was used in that hybrid fullback motion, sort of being able to play off of, the block going this way, running the ball in the opposite direction. So really utilizing that room to its full potential, I thought, in Week 1. So I gave the running backs an A- here for their matchup with the Rams. And a little bit in combination with the running backs, let's take a look at the offensive line. And I gave them a C+ for this game. And that might seem a little bit harsh, but I think in looking at the totality of the game, the lull that they had in the second half, they did give up 5 quarterback hits on Jared Goff, which included 2 sacks. And again, kind of got Jared Goff off kilter there a little bit, which contributed to his grade. But then again, they did reestablish themselves. The running game ended up being very good, 163 total rushing yards. And again, the reestablishing of the dominance that is their offensive line and running game in overtime, it was just so hard to ignore that as they win that game on that David Montgomery touchdown. But overall, I think there is room for improvement, especially in the QB protection area. So they did get a C+ from me in this game against the Rams. Sticking with the offense and the wide receivers, and maybe the group that had the biggest shine coming out of this week one with J-Mo's performance, I think still leaves a little room for improvement. I mean, overall, J-Mo had the big day, 5 receptions, 121 yards, and a long bomb score. He was really worked into the offense more than he ever has been, and you hope to see that more and more throughout the season. But ultimately, where was the sun god? And I know it was a scheme thing. Obviously, the Rams defense is trying to do everything they can to stop him from going off. But for a week one performance, knowing what the wide receiver room looks like, I at least expected Amon-Ra to come out hot, and he was nowhere to be found. 3 receptions, 13 yards only, and no other wide receiver got an attempt at a reception in this game. Only Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. Otherwise, it was a mix of the tight ends, the running back room. And you'll probably see more and more of that until they either establish an X wide receiver. They may pull somebody up from the practice squad. You didn't see guys like Isaiah Williams get any play there. Tom Kennedy did get in the game, but was not a factor. So again, I think they still have questions at wide receiver as much as the Jamison Williams, breakout game is huge. And they're going to need more and more of that throughout the season. It's a great sign. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So this room, for me, the wide receivers got a C+. And lastly, the tight end group. I just don't think there was enough tight end presence here in this week one matchup. So I went with a C- as the grade here. Sam Laporta had 4 receptions for 45 yards. Parker Hesse played a little bit of a role in that hybrid fullback position, and Brock Wright did get a little bit of a play, but just not much there from the tight end group. I know we're expecting a lot in year 2 out of Sam Laporta, but again, I just don't think there was enough there. I don't think they even got involved much in the blocking schemes as they have in the past season. So I'd like to see more out of them here as we get into week 2 and beyond. Overall, the offense, I am giving a C+ for their performance in week 1 versus the LA Rams. And again, I think it was just too up and down. We went through the individual position groups. I thought the Jared Goff performance was too up and down. You can't go up 14 points and then go into a lull in the middle of the second half and allow another team, regardless of who they are, in this case being Matt Stafford and the LA Rams, to score the next 17 points. The Lions offense is too good to allow that to happen. And when you go up 14, I expect the Lions to put their foot down right away in more situations down the road here this season. So there is a lot of room for improvement offensively, and I gave them a C+ for this week 1 grade. Now let's switch over to the defensive side of the football. Start with the secondary. In this case, again, I thought they were very up and down. Now, you got to give these guys a little bit of slack. Of course, Terrion Arnold, a rookie, is going to need time to adjust, and that is a tough assignment against the LA Rams. A guy like Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. We know Nacua went down in the first half, but along with the other receivers and weapons that the Rams have, it is a tough adjustment here for a rookie cornerback. But I just thought overall they were very up and down. You had the Kirby interception to end the first half. That was a great play, kind of a tough throw by Matthew Stafford, but they end up getting the play that they need out of the secondary to stop the Rams there before the half was over. I thought that was a big play. I thought Carlton Davis, I think his athleticism sort of showed a little bit on the negative side in this game. He dropped an interception. I thought he was beat by Cooper Kupp on a few occasions. He wasn't bad overall. And again, I think not playing in the preseason, having to adjust to a new defense and defensive scheme, playing with other players, we got to give these guys a little bit of leeway, but I think there is certainly a lot of room for improvement. They really just need more time to gel, especially the young guys, Terrion Arnold, Enos Rakestraw. You still have Brian Brantz adjusting, coming off of his injury, moving into the secondary role, which I thought, played very well. He had several pass breakups. I thought was very close to undercutting a few different times and getting an interception. Again, that's Brian Brantz. So again, I thought they did a lot of good things, but I thought the middle crossing patterns were a real problem for the Lions secondary in this game. And again, I think that's coming in time, understanding scheme, and when to pass guys off at the right times. And again, against Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense, it really, the downside shone through. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I don't think it's a lost cause. But we're still left with a lot of the same questions after week 1 about this secondary. So we'll have to see, and I gave them an overall grade of a C for this performance against the Rams. Now let's talk about the defensive line. And with most position groups here in this week 1 matchup, it was very up and down. Let's start with Aiden Hutchinson. I thought he was beat around the edge a few times there early in the game, but then really started to turn it on there, picked up his pressure rate. I think he had 11 total pressures, and he did get a sack in this game. Marcus Davenport on the other side also had a half a sack early on in this game and showed a little bit of a pressure rate, but I think there's still more to be had there on the other side. I think The biggest thing that I noticed was there just was not enough interior pressure. Now we know DJ Reader did not play in this game, and they expect him back in week 2, so that should help with that interior. But a guy like OLine McNeil was absent in this game against the Rams. I did not hear his name called once, so they're going to need to do a little bit more at that defensive tackle position. Knowing that the Rams' offensive line was a little bit depleted in this matchup, I did expect more out of this position group. So we'll kind of see what happens when DJ Reader gets back into the mix. But overall, they weren't bad. I thought Hutch was pretty good. I thought Marcus Davenport showed some flashes of what he could be on the other side. And again, they were very stout in their run defense, holding Kyron Williams and their other running backs down to a very low average and not many yards to be had there on the ground. So really, the Rams had to turn their rushing attack into that short passing game to become effective against the Lions. So again, I thought the defensive line was okay. There's certainly a lot of room for improvement, but we need to be patient with this group as, again, they get fully healthy and start to establish themselves up front. So I did give them a C+ for their matchup against the Rams. And the linebackers, what I thought was one of the better units here for the Lions on the defensive side of the football against the Rams. And you got to start with the captain, Alex Anzalone. He was a straight monster in this game and started off the very first play of the game with a huge hit to sort of set the tone. I think he was the defensive player of the game for the Lions. He had 13 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and was all over the field. I mean, he is such an underrated linebacker and a huge asset for this Lions team. I thought there was still a little left to be desired, though, in that room. I thought guys like Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes still left a little to be desired there as far as their pass coverage. Again, those middle and intermediate routes really killed them, the crossing patterns, which is a combination, not only of the linebackers, but the secondary as well. You know, pressure can affect that. So it all kind of goes hand in hand, but I thought the linebackers were relatively good. I thought Jack Campbell had a couple moments. I thought Derek Barnes got himself in there as far as, on the run stuffing side of the defense. Lions run stuffing defense in general was very good, and the linebackers are a big part of that. So I thought in general, that crew was very good. I gave them a B- for their grade against the Rams. And the defense overall, I'm giving a C+ for the game against the Rams. Again, I think there was just a lot of up and down. I think they were good at points. I thought that the very end of the first half, after the Lions had gotten points, it was tough to see them allow the Rams to drive right down the field. They did end up getting the Kirby Joseph interception there, which is great. But the Rams really put themselves in a position there to get points. I also thought the Lions defense was very good at the very end of the game. They did have to force the Rams to punt the football to get the ball back for a chance to tie that game late. So again, the defense did what they had to do to get the ball back to the Lions so that they could tie this game up, get it to overtime, and we know what the Lions offense did there to take over the game. So I thought the Lions defense overall left a little bit out there for us. They were okay. I think we need to give them a little bit more time, along with the young guys they have in the secondary, the new pieces they've added up front. They're going to get DJ Reader back, hopefully in week 2. So we got to be patient with this group, and hopefully we'll start to see even more marked improvement over the next several weeks. And let's look at the special teams. Let's start with the UFL kicker, new kicker Jake Bates. And I thought he assimilated very well in week 1. He went 2 for 2, very short field goals, but a pressure kick at the end of the game to tie it up, and he nailed it. So you got to give him credit. I thought Jake Bates was very good. We'll give him an A- for his efforts here in week 1. And then I think Jack Fox may be the best punter in the NFL. And I think another unheralded Lion. He flipped the field several times at the end of the game. He gave the Rams a short field yet again. He also literally pinned a punt at the 1-yard line, which was accidentally kicked out of the back of the end zone by rookie Enos Rakestraw. So he would have had another punt down inside very deep in Ram territory. I thought he was very good. I gave him an A+ rating here for this particular game. Overall, special teams, I gave an A-. I think, again, we'll have to see a little bit more from Jake Bates as we build a little bit more distance on those kicks. Can he remain consistent? And then can Jack Fox just continue to be the all-pro punter that he truly is? So I thought they were very good, and overall I gave the special teams an A-. There really wasn't much in the return game as far as punts or kick returns. Khalif Raymond had a couple shots at it, but didn't get much out of those returns, but there were no major gaffes. So again, I thought special teams played very well against the Rams. And lastly, you got to look at coaching, and I don't think there was any major decisions that went one way or another. I thought they were aggressive in the right spots. Dan Campbell went for it on the first half 4th down, and they ended up converting that 4th down. I don't think there was much other opportunity to make any major game-changing decisions. I think on the other side of the football, I did think that the Rams offense sort of picked apart the defense with their middle to short range crossing patterns, and I don't know if there was a lot of adjustments to make up for that. It was very clear that they did not want to give up the big play, and they were pretty successful in doing that. I think they only had the one long pass of 60 yards that was really more of a run after catch situation, so they really were not beat over the top, and I think that was very clear as part of their game plan. But again, Stafford really did pick apart that defense and was able to get dink and dunk up and down the field at will at certain times during this game, especially in the second half. So there is certainly room for improvement, both offensively and defensively. But I thought coaching-wise, the grade that they earned was a B for this week against the Rams.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What grades would you give the Lions' offense, defense, special teams, and coaching for the Week 1 matchup against the LA Rams? Was I close? Was I spot on? Or was I completely off? Let me know down in the comments. What grade? It was a fun game. I think it started off slow. Lions offense started to kick it into gear there with that long bomb to J-Mo, but then sort of went into a lull. The defense was up and down, but did get the stop when they needed to get the ball back to the offense to put them in a position to tie the game. They got a little bit of luck with that coin flip and then inserted themselves in the bread and butter of their offense, the offensive line, the running game, to ultimately lead to the touchdown to win the game in overtime, 26-20 over the LA Rams. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think we need to give some time to the secondary, the defensive line, as DJ Reader reinserts himself there, as the young guys in the secondary start to acclimate themselves throughout the season, and as these starters start to actually play together after this Week 1 matchup against the Rams. What do you expect to see for the Bucs in Week 2? Do you think the Lions have a good shot? We'll get into it a little bit more as we get into this week. I will give a full game preview for Week 2 coming up against the Bucs Sunday at 1 o'clock. Should be a lot of fun, so come back and see me. More than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That is so important. I want to make sure you come back on future videos. If you do dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports, make sure to hit that like button. The subscription button and notify bell is the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos. There is a membership option now available for $1.99. If you hit that join button, I'll walk you through all the options you have to become a part of the family. We'll have all the live play-by-play game reactions, highlight reactions, all the fun stuff, including all the free content that you've come to love here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for your time. Go Lions.